my most amazing artists. Today we're going to talk color with artist George Seurat, who is a French draftsman and a painter who is interested in the science behind art. He produced many paintings, including one of his most famous right here, using a technique he founded called pointillism, in which tiny contrasting dots of color are placed side by side on the canvas. Up close, the painting appears as individual dots, but when viewed from a distance, the eye mixes the colors into a whole entire scene. His masterpiece, Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Le Grand Jatte, is a huge work painted entirely using this method. Along with pointillism, Seurat's experimentation with color baby color brought new ideas and concepts into the art world. He felt color could create harmony and emotion in painting, similar to how a musician creates harmony in music. Today we're going to talk about warm colors and cool colors. So we're going to learn a little bit about how the color wheel works. So let's take a quick look at what materials we might need for this project. Crayons, markers, something to trace, either a cup or a lid, something to draw with, like a Sharpie or a pencil or a marker. And then optional is if you have access to paint. This is a great activity for paint and an instrument called Q-tips, which are often found in your family bathroom. So go ahead and check out your materials and see what you have that you can use to create this work of art. Today, we're going to talk about warm and cool colors. Warm colors are colors that you can find on the color wheel that kind of make you feel warm. They remind you of the sun. Red, orange, yellow are all warm colors. Cool colors are colors that kind of remind you of the water, the ocean, and maybe even polar ice caps, purple, blue, and green. So we're going to focus on each of these types of colors, and we're going to create some art using a little bit of pointillism, just like artist George Seurat. So I have my paper ready, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that we can make this art work using whatever materials you have. So I'm going to start off with my marker, and I'm going to just create my composition. So that way I know what I'm working with in my space. I'm holding my paper like a bathtub instead of like a shower. Bathtub is kind of the wide window way. And now I'm going to add some long and diagonal lines. I'm going to start on one side of my paper and kind of just swoop up. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to start on the other side and kind of head toward the middle. Okay, now that you have created your lines, let's talk about that tracing. So I said if you have a cup that you want to trace, or if you have a lid, that would also work for this project. So you decide what object you'd like to trace, or maybe you just want to draw the circle on your own, and that is totally fine. If you have a nice steady hand, that would be great. I'm just going to go ahead and trace one on this side, and I'm going to make this one a little bit different. I don't want them to be exactly the same height, not as interesting in art composition. So I'm going to vary where I put my shape in space, because remember, space is also an important part of creating art. Okay, now that I have my two circles, I'm just going to add an upside down letter J on the top. Kind of looks like a hook. And you can even put a little tiny rectangle on the top of each. They kind of look like ornaments, don't they? Yes, they do. So let's go ahead and make these into some beautiful evergreen branches. So I went into my marker stash and found a whole bunch of colors of green. You could use crayons for this, you can use markers for this, and if you have crayons, you can look for all of the different shades of green. This is good color theory practice too. These are all different values, shades, and tints. So let's go ahead and find your materials that you'd like to work with. Now we're going to go ahead and make lots of small diagonal lines. It kind of looks like the letter V when you are finished both sides of your line. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here, letter V, all the way. And now that I've done one, I'm going to change to a different shade of green, and I'm going to do another. So this time I'm going to make it right on top of my other letter V's. And same thing over here. Notice they start off a little smaller and get a little bit bigger as they go down, just like you would see on an evergreen branch on a tree. So now we're going to go ahead and do yet another row. I have a different shade of green, or you can go back to the original. It's okay as long as you are making lots of diagonals. The more you make, the more fluffy and realistic your beautiful evergreen branches will look. I still have one more shade of green. So I'm going to go through and add some of that. And I'm just going to make my V's a little bit looser. There we go. Now I have my evergreen branches. I'm going to create what is called the warm color ornament and a cool color ornament. But remember our friend George Seurat, we're going to be making it using something called pointillism. Pointillism is using tiny little dots. So we're just going to kind of use our markers or crayons or paint if you have them to stamp today. So if you're using a marker and I'm doing warm colors, I'm going to be using red, orange, and yellow to create my first ornament. And I'm just going to start by making little dots like this until I have one part of my ornament filled in. Remember, I'm going to save room for 3 different colors, and it's okay if they overlap a little because that's what George Seurat did in his artwork. If you're using paint and a Q-tip, you can start off with the top of your color wheel here and just dab lots and lots and lots of dots of red. Now remember, we're using warm colors, so I'm now going to switch to some orange next. Orange is also a warm color. So orange is the next color that we're going to be using in our design. So notice I'm just stamping, I'm not painting, I'm just stamping. And finally, the last color, just going to switch Q-tips there, in my warm color is going to be yellow. So you can see here, I'm going to finish with yellow. So this is my warm colored ornament. Now I'm going to do my cool color ornament using green, blue, and purple. So I'm going to start over here, take some of my green, and I'm going to stamp and create those tiny dots of color. Great, now it's time to switch, and I'm going to do a little bit of blue next in the color wheel. Stamping, stamping, stamping. And finally, for my last color, I'm going to get one more Q-tip here. I'm going to do a little bit of purple and stamp, stamp, stamp. So you can see how mixing these colors together creates really beautiful art. So I hope that you enjoyed creating with pointillism today. And remember, keep on creating.